The book of Daniel is a very important book because Jesus based his Olivet prophecy or Sermon on the Mount about his second coming, the end of the age, and so on, the establishment of the kingdom, the resurrection of the dead. Most of what Jesus says there is based on this book, Daniel. So dating Daniel is of utmost importance. In this book, Daniel the prophet, we're also told why it's of so much importance. Quote, the book of Daniel is specially fitted to be a battlefield between faith and unbelief. To write any book under the name of another is dishonest in itself and destructive of all trustworthiness. We either have true miracles and true prophecy, or we should have nothing but untruth, a deceit which would fall under the sentence of God against those who say, let us do evil, that good may come, whose damnation is just. Romans 3. So here this quote reflects a sad state of scholarship because most scholars are theological liberals and historicists when it comes to Daniel. So for them, all the prophecies were either fulfilled even before Jesus, especially to do with the abomination of desolation, or they were fulfilled, the things Jesus said based on Daniel in 70 AD, in the destruction of the temple. But I'll show you here that the book was canonized before Jesus by the LXX, that's the Greek translation of the Old Testament, and even the Dead Sea Scrolls, which predate Jesus by almost 300 years. So the Dead Sea caves, or Qumran caves in particular, has the most copies of any biblical book. So they either quote from Daniel or cite Daniel or allude to Daniel the most out of any other Old Testament book. And as well as many inspired by many other works of the time. And the important thing, though, is that Daniel is called a prophet in these writings, especially from the Cave 4 collection called the Anthology. Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls, written 300 to 200 before Christ, you would find in the Cave 4 this quote, the chosen ones of Israel in the latter days, the time as written in the book of Daniel, the prophet, for the wicked to act wickedly, but they do not understand, but the righteous shall purify themselves and make themselves white and refine themselves, and a people knowing God will be strong. So these are allusions from Daniel 12 and 11. Now, the importance of this is that the writers of the Dead Sea Scrolls considered Daniel a prophet. And most of these people lived after the Maccabean period, which was around the 2nd century or so. So these writings post-date one of the liberal scholar views that Daniel is written during the Maccabean period. But even if this were from it, the writers, the contemporaries of Daniel, are calling him a prophet. In other words, he's looking into the future, not to their present state. Some scholars recognize this. The date of the book of Daniel, quote, the discovery of manuscripts of Daniel at Qumran dating from the Maccabean period make it very unlikely that the book was written during those dates, since it would have taken some time for it to have been accepted and included in the canon. We also note that Josephus, during the apostolic period, that's 1st century AD, after 70 AD, repeatedly calls Daniel a prophet.